Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 battle. I'm playing as the Vampire Count, my ally is Bretonia. We're facing off against a Dwarf and an Empire player that has deployed in the corner. So we have a very long march ahead of us. My army here, we have 3 zombies backed up by 3 Graveguard, the Stearnsman, a vampire on a mounted beast there. We have 2 basic Necromancers, of course Heinrich Himmler, a Puppy, Mortis Engine at the flank over here, and then a Corpse Cart. I also have 2 bats, which are currently over here, and a Terrorgeist. And then over here in Vanguard deployment, way over here, is the Feasters in the Dusk, who have the Stalk and Vanguard deployment. I deployed them over here thinking that the enemy army would be, you know, like somewhere around here. Nope. So they have a long road ahead of them. The Bretonia player here brought 4 Field Trebuchets. We also have 2 Ground Knights, I think. And then 2 Knights of the Realm. Yeah, 2 Grand Knights, 2 Knights of the Realm, 2 Pegasus Knights, some Spearmen, a couple Man-at-Arms, 2 Peasant Bows, King Lewin Leon Kerr, and that is their army. The enemy armies, you know, I just pressed play. This is a long march up. 2 Steam Tanks, 3 Great Cannons, 2 Normal Cannons. We have 3 Handgunners, tons of Spears to hold the lines, 2 Great Swords, Call of Franz, Slayers, Hammerers, 2 Thunderers, a whole bunch of Dwarf Warriors, Ungrim Iron Fist, because who else would you see in a Dwarf army? Runesmith, 3 Longbeards of Great Weapons. Can you tell I'm tired of seeing Ungrim? Can we just, like, remove him from the game for a week, just so I don't have to see his stupid Mohawk? We also have, actually, I like the Mohawk. The Mohawk's pretty good. I'm not gonna talk shit about your Mohawk there, Ungrim. And then a group of Hammers over here, 3 Gyrocopters with Brimstone Guns, which I believe are currently being aimed at by the Field Trebuchets. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say maybe don't shoot the Gyrocopters with a Field Trebuchet. But hey, you know what? You do you. You do whatever you want. So over here, the Dwarven Cannons and Great Cannons, I think, are shooting at King Lewin, but also getting close to shooting at the Field Trebuchets. I can't tell. I don't know if they're shooting at the King or they're shooting at the Field Trebuchet. I'm assuming the King. Yeah, we have a very long march ahead of us. I'm getting shot at by these Steam Tanks, who, oh, we have a long way to go. A long way to go. I think they're firing at the King, who is, taking the shots pretty well. I don't think this person went to the school that taught you to, dodge with the King, as I've shown in previous videos. Pegasus Knights move over here on the flank, and they're just going to get shot up by these Steam Tanks. Actually, we don't need to slow this down.
The grail is in sight.
Meanwhile, you know, we're just getting shot up by artillery right now.
The unchivalrous brutes.
But our armies are slowly marching forward. You can see the King has taken half of his life in damage right now. These Pegasus Knights are also taking a lot of damage from these Steam Tanks. There we go. They are starting to move. March continues. Now the Brimstone Guns are over here shooting into the King and getting out because they see my Terrorgeist coming out. I was trying to support my ally here. There's Call of Franz. Field Trebuchets are now raining death upon some of the enemy artillery and these Dwarven Longbeards. Now some of the Great Cannons are firing at my Claw of Nagash and doing a lot of damage. I'm trying to do side-to-side movements, but it's not as fast as a flying King Lewin, so it does still get hit. And the army continues to move forward. My Vanguard deployed force is getting closer to their ideal goal, which is going to be coming in behind the handgunners, who are now starting to fire down upon these zombies. Now, I do have a Terrorgeist and a Vargulf, which can do a lot of armor-piercing damage to those Steam Tanks, so that's what I'm going to be sticking them on. Pegasus Knights in the back. My Fellbats are starting to come in here to silence these handgunners before they get too many shots off on my actual good infantry as we start to approach their battle line. So we're going to be trying to silence those guns. The Pegasus Knights, I think, are heading over to the enemy artillery area. There go the bats. I try to spread them out so they get into every single group, and they do. So now most of the groups are now tied into melee combat with a very highly melee defensive bat. As our army now gets into their range. Terrorgeist is now free to go down and start, well, dealing with the steam tank. And here comes the puppy. My Claw Nagash is still barely alive. It's over here, still getting shot by the Dwarf Cannon. I try to cast Invocation of the Heck on it, trying to keep it alive. My Corpse Card is also coming up. Bats still dealing with this. The Great Swords came in here to try and help the Riflemen with the bats. My Vanguard deployed. People are coming in behind. And here's the puppy and the Terror guys hitting the steam tank. But now there are some spearmen mixed in. I am sending our Graveguard with great weapons over here to try and help with our Bretonnian ally with the dwarves, while the rest of my line is going to crash into the Imperial line. There goes my Claw of Nagash, focused down by all the artillery. But we have reached the lines. The riflemen are now pulling out. The handgunners there, so they can continue to fire. I have summoned skeletons behind their lines to try and stop what riflemen that I could. These renowned units are going to do really well against spearmen. Let's give you a sight on what's going on here. The corpse card is just trying to buff what they can. Our Sternsmen are over here dealing with 3 different spearmen along with a group of zombies, which are going to die pretty quickly. The steam tank that our Terrorgeist and Vargulf are fighting has taken a lot of damage, but the thing is there's a ton of units around there now trying to... So it's like it's distracting our big creatures. Heinrich Himmler's in here along with some more Graveguard. We have Necromancers posted around for their Master of the Dead trait area regeneration, and they have also summoned the... skeletons. I think I also summoned a group of zombies back here as well, or will be soon. Anything I can do to try and silence those handgunners. Our vampire is... Where is she? There she is. She's over here against the handgunners, but then she gets charged by a group of hammerers. I'm trying to do what I can to silence all of this guns, all this artillery. I'm going to be moving my dire bats into this group of artillery, which is still up. I was kind of counting on the Knights and the Pegasus Knights to come in here and shut this down, but they are still firing, so I'm like, shit. So I'm trying to get whatever Fellbats I have left alive, and they're going to be going over there. Here they are right now. Maybe they got... Where are they going now? They should be heading over here. But anyway, here comes Karl Franz charging down into my Skeletal Warriors that were summoned to try and stop them from getting into those handgunners. Vampire has to pull out because she's not going to be dealing with hammers. Meanwhile, over here, we are still dealing with the steam tank and the spearmen and the great swords. Heinrich Himmler is in here as well. He is built for melee right now with his 2 items that I gave him. His puppy is nearby. My vampire lady is going to go into the center of the artillery formation to try and destroy what she can, because man, they are hurting and they're non-stop firing. So I'm doing what I can. My Fellbats will remain, and my Skeletal Warriors are coming over here to try and silence these row of cannons. While my main line is still dealing with now dwarves and some spearmen over here. And these 2 steam tanks. I had to keep reassigning the attack orders to try and destroy this steam tank because they kept getting distracted by everything else. We have now hammers over here, slayers, spearmen, great swords, everything. Karl Franz is over here finishing off our ghouls so that their spearmen don't die to them. Over here, our Sternsmen are doing really good against spearmen, but that's to be expected. We finally get that steam tank. There's still 1 more, and the artillery is still firing. I have to withdraw my vampire lady here soon because of Ungrim Iron Fist coming in here and the Runesmith, so she's going to be taking so much damage. Skeletal Warriors, even though they're fighting against the cannons, they're still, the cannon's crew, the cannons are still firing. My Great Swordsmen are doing really well against the Dwarven Warriors. You can see, we'll probably watch this fight again so you can see what the Bretonnian player is doing. My Terrorgeist is almost dead. I'm going to try and use it to get his morale back by charging a handgunner. Same thing with the puppies, but it keeps getting caught by the Great Swords. But I'm still just trying to silence these guns as much as possible. Heinrich now fighting against these Slayers and with the help of the Graveguard nearby. And you can see Heinrich has been in combat for a while, but because of his regeneration and the Master of the Dead trait with the Necromancers, he can hold his own. Unless he gets charged by a really good hero, which Carl's going to be coming pretty soon. Over here, the Stearnsman's still doing really well. Has routed a couple spearmen and almost killed this one by themselves. As they're getting shot by a steam tank in the side. We have some Bretonnians here. I'm throwing in the rest of my Grave Guard into this battle now that Ungrim and the Runesmith are coming. So with Ungrim here, and I believe Karl Franz gets in there as well, Heinrich is not going to live for much longer. My puppy, again, was trying to do what it can, routing the handgunners, bouncing from handgunner to handgunner. My Terrorgeist at this point is dead. My Lodestone cart is dead because of the artillery. So yeah, it's not looking good. Heinrich is now dead, I believe. He got instantly murdered by Ungrim and Karl Franz, who's now going over here to finish off our puppy. The rest of my Grave Guard have been outnumbered and killed over there. And that is going to be a defeat. Let's check it again from Bretonnian's point of view. Those gyrocopters just bombed the knights on the way to the Dwarven lines. And now they're on their way to deal with the field trebuchets. You can see before the battle even starts, the king is it's taking a lot of damage, but luckily has regenerated actually through some of it. The cav, though, is taking a lot of cannon damage as well, and then one group of spearmen were routed, and they're currently sitting back here, and they took a lot of damage. And it's a lot of fatalities before the battle even started with all that artillery there. So right here, my ally is going to charge the Grail Knights into these Longbeards. They are then going to charge this group of Grail Knights into these Ironbreakers. Ironbreakers have charge defense against everything, so they don't, as long as they're braced, they're not going to take any bonus from the, like, they deny charge bonuses of the Grail Knights, which is, I believe, 80. Some insane number, if we can... 82. All that charge bonus is wiped away if you charge the Ironbreakers. So don't, like, unless you really have to, don't do this. Do not charge your Grail Knights into Ironbreakers. It's a real waste. Then these Knights of the Realm are going to charge into these Longbeards. Yep. And then these Grail Knights are going to go charge into these Longbeards and Ironbreakers. So, let's just pause right here for a moment, friends. The Dwarven army is pretty slow, and when you have so much cav, even though they got torn to pieces, well, they got torn up a little bit on the approach, you still can outmaneuver the Dwarven infantry in a way where you want to take out the highest threat to both of our armies, because right now, all these cannons, you see where they're facing my direction, and they're starting to pound the hell out of me, because they probably know that they don't really need to work on the Bretonnian player anymore. So... as the Bretonnian player, I was counting on them to shut these down, but, well, they don't. But if you come into a situation like this, don't charge the Dwarven infantry. They are there to just slow you down while in most cases, while other tools like these cannons and thunderers and like hammerers, like they're killers, they're damage dealers, are going to be doing what they do, shooting, hammering, and firing cannons. Don't willingly charge into an Ironbreaker unless you absolutely have to. Instead, use the cav to try and find a hole, which you can easily exploit any kind of holes with the dwarves because they're so slow, and then get into their artillery line. Like one charge, really all you got to do here, if you come from this direction, is give a charge order for like this cannon crew when they're right here, and they're just going to charge through everything. And at least probably start to rout or damage the morale of the cannon crews and get them to stop firing for a bit as you knock their bodies down as your horses are traveling over their bodies to get to their target. So one massive charge again could clear this entire hill out. Just try your best to ignore the infantry until the end of the game. Unless the cannons are gone, unless thunderers are gone, like until they're basically the only thing left, then really worry about charging them in most cases for dwarves. But yeah, these Grail Knights, they're going up against one of the toughest units in the game, and without a charge bonus, they are going to get murdered, especially with these Longbeards that do armor-piercing damage. It is not a good fight for them. King Lewin over here is getting destroyed by Unger Iron Fist and Karl Franz, and he's going to be routed very soon. He was killing some Dwarven warriors. So there we go again. So the king, if you're not being attacked as the king on a flying mount, use the king to also disrupt their artillery or their thunderers. Hell, yeah, I guess you can throw him against hammerers too if he has support maybe. But yeah, pick out these high damage targets with your king. He's very mobile. No need to really throw him into Dwarven warriors. That's what your man-at-arms are there for. So yeah, he's going to withdraw because he's almost dead. Meanwhile, the Bretonnians are doing what they can to kill these Dwarven infantry. The Knights of Bretonnia have mostly been dealt with at this point. They have what? There's the Knights of the Realm left. That's the highest one they have. They targeted the Longbeards that were up here and managed to rout them. That's them running off there. And I think just because they were in the area, they managed to also rout two of the cannon crews of the Imperial player, which is good. It's a good thing. This is not a good thing. So these peasant bows at this point, instead of supporting this fight, also they were firing. I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm just trying to tell you what targets you should prioritize. So the peasant bows were shooting into this melee against these Dwarven warriors who have a shield in the front. I'm not exactly sure if the shield still counts if they're engaged in melee. I'm assuming it does. But also they're pretty high armor. You know, they're there to hold for a long time. The peasant bows in this situation should be firing at the artillery crews because they are generally lower armored. Like even the Dwarven only have 40 armor, and then the Imperials I think have like 15. That's 35, although it's buffed right now. Because of Oath of... Yeah, 15. Or, no, 20, sorry. We have 20. So, a focus fire peasant bows would destroy these cannon crews like that. Just like that. But these Bretonnian peasants are being pulled back to deal with gyro bombers, or gyrocopters. Gyrocopters have 100 armor, and peasant bows are not armor piercing. So, even under focus fire, if these gyro bombers would not move and would allow themselves to be focused down by archers, it would still take so long and so much ammunition to do any type of damage whatsoever because of their high armor, is ignoring most of the peasant bowman damage. So let your field trebuchets die. It's going to be slow because gyrocopters are not that great at killing things, especially ones with the brimstone guns, which are more ideal for killing large creatures and not small little infantry people that are, you know, manning the field catapults. So again, you just got to kind of assign your unit to the right counter unit. And it's a lot to take in the middle of battle. Like, you have to do these calculations in your head, like boom, boom, boom. And it just takes time to be like, okay, this unit is going to be sent after this. This one's going to be sent after this. And it just takes time. You learn what unit it would be best against what. But definitely do not pull the peasant bows out and leave your infantry unsupported in this fight. Like right here, Grave Guard with great weapons. I knew they would do excellent against Dwarven warriors. That's why I threw them in here to try and assist the Bretonnian player. Although really, I probably should just kept them over here to deal with the great swords. But I thought maybe I could hold them off with Fluffy. These hammers, though, that's, man, pretty strong. Get him, Fluffy. At this point, there's really not much left of the Bretonnian player. They have a few units here and there fighting against Dwarven warriors, but that's kind of all they have. My vampire is about to die to Unger Iron. Look at that damage he did on the charge with Foe Seeker and Deadly Onslaught. God, I hate Ungrim. Only because I see him all the time. All the time. No one picks Thorgrim. He's not even a bad unit. He's not a bad unit. I think they just get scared because of his initial cost. It's pretty high. But I don't think he's bad. Man, my poor Stearns guard, man, just getting shot in the side by the steam tank.
Enemy wizard spotted.
There's my Claw of Nagash. My corpse card's right there. Heinrich Kimmler is just about to fall.
Held and hammer!
I should have tried to throw some kind of unit at the steam tank to just tie it down. I was too concerned with shutting down these cannons over here and then all these riflemen. Yeah, so Heinrich just died. And there's those peasants trying to take out the gyro. You see the gyro bombers are still flying high. Gyrocopters.
With haste.
Then I crumble. Explosions. And we die. Good game to my opponents and to my ally. Let's see. Heinrich got 17 when fighting against... I think he was fighting against great swords for the most part. Not that much. Heinrich is okay. He's definitely not the strongest lord that the vampires have, but I like to bring him out every once in a while because I like to try things that you don't see all the time. I don't know the last time I saw Heinrich brought from like an enemy vampire count player. Not surprising. Again, with all the lords they have, especially now after that last DLC, like I haven't seen a generic necromancer. I haven't seen Heinrich. I've seen Manfred once or twice. Maybe even a vampire lord once. But yeah, no love for Heinrich. Anyway, vampire only got 20 kills, which is not great. What was she sent after? She was sent after the cannon crews. And I think that was mostly it. She wasn't really in any melee before then, and then she just got murdered over there. Let's see, the zombies did what they did. The feasters did really well, 115 kills against great swords and handgunners. This Grave Guard did pretty good. The others did, The Grave Guard with great weapons did really good against the dwarves. Stearnsmen killed a lot of spearmen, but got shut down by that steam tank. The puppy and the Terra guys shut down the steam tank and got some great swords, riflemen. They did okay. But the thing is, like, these 4 units down here were getting shot at by those cannons through most of the match. My Claw of Nagash was dead before the fight even really started. It says rank 9 because it's a renown. I didn't actually buy ranks on it. The corpse got shut down shortly after that, and then my Terra guys and the puppy were getting shot at after that one. So it was hard to keep these big units alive. For my ally here, the king killed some dwarven warriors, but then got routed off. The front line did as good as can be against dwarven infantry. The man-at-arms did slightly better, to be expected because they have the armor piercing. They are more defensively focused as well, so they would stay longer and kill more. The peasant bows, they disengaged too early and went after the gyro bombers. Gyrocopters, I kept calling them gyro bombers. The knights, well, they still did okay, considering they were charging the dwarven infantry headlong. They managed to shut down 2 of the artillery crews of the Imperial player. I think, again, not on purpose, but just because they were in the area. But hey, that's good enough. Pegasus Knights got shut down before they even really got into the battle. And apparently got a lot of money into these too, 6 ranks each. The Field Trebuchets did pretty good. Actually, really good. They're a cheap unit. They're kind of a subpar unit, but they did pretty well. The Imperial player, 78 kills on Karl Franz on his Griffin because he's Karl Franz. The Spearmen did really well. Great Swords did pretty good. Handgunners, I tried to shut them down, but they still got a lot of kills. And then the cannon crews, man. Oh, the cannons. And the steam tank. We managed to shut this one down, though. But man. Dwarven player, their artillery got a lot of kills as well. And again, some of those are against my... Well, one of those is against the Nagash and the Unholy Lodestone, which is a huge support part of my army. It was going to do a lot of work, but they were really good in shutting those down. Hammers did well. The Iron Breakers barely hurt. Killed most of those Grail Knights, because that's what they would do if you charge them if they're braced. Gyrocopters did okay. Ungrim got 26 kills, but he killed a couple heroes, so that's cool. Frontline Dwarf Warriors did really well because they are better than Bretonnians for the most part. But anyway, hope again you enjoyed that battle. I will see you all next time. Have a good day.